Hi, welcome to another video. This is Mr. Chow from EnglishTuition.org. Now, in today's video, I just want to make a quick introduction to the top 3 free web conferencing software that I've shortlisted, and then maybe you can decide whether you want to use one of these 3 software to maybe help you in your work or help your child attend some online lessons. All right. So these are 3 software alternatives, and I put it down in a comparison table. Now, the first one that we have is actually Zoom, which is very popular. I'm sure you have heard of it before. The second one is a software by Cisco Webex, maybe not so well known among students, but this is actually well known among the business communities, and a lot of professionals working in companies, they're actually using this WebEx meeting to conduct their video conferencing. And the last one is actually AnyMeeting, which is a good option as well. But let me just go through the table quickly to see whether each of these software meet your requirements. Because ultimately, if the software has all the features that you're looking for, it can potentially serve you very well without costing you anything. Of course, the first thing that we want to mention is that whether the software has got good audio clarity. You do not want the software to uh, have a poor audio, right? Because ultimately you're using this for communication purposes. And I've tested all 3 software, and they actually give out quite clear um, audio quality as you are listening to right now. Audible, okay, without much of background noises. And all 3 software has got the ability for the users or the participants to actually mute their mic, because when you're actually conducting the meetings, sometimes the background noises from the microphones from the various participants, they get into the recording itself, right? And that's kind of a distraction. So the good thing is all 3 software allow the users to mute or unmute their mics. Okay, so giving essentially giving the host full control of the audio, and then the host can make a good presentation. Now, all 3 support webcam, of course, so you are able to see the users as the host is making the presentation. Okay, and the connection for all 3, okay, is quite good. There are no lag. Um, the next feature that we want to talk about is the number of users that are permitted within the software itself. Now, Zoom, I know many schools in Singapore are using this software, so that's not a problem if you're using it for online lessons for schools, right? But for private tutors, they may not have access to the features that are offered in the paid plans, right? And for me, I think that if this is just a very short-term arrangement, right, to pay $20 per month to subscribe to a paid plan just for a small handful of lessons, it may not be worth it, right? But they actually have a free plan that they allow when users can actually conduct meetings one-to-one. So a maximum of 2 participants within the meeting itself, and you have unlimited time to carry on the lesson or the meeting, all right? But anytime you have more than 2, right? For example, if you're 3, 1 teacher and 2 students, that makes up 3 participants in the meeting itself. They have a 40 minutes time limitation. So what happens is after 40 minutes is up, you'll get a warning to say that you have 10 minutes remaining. And then after that, when the full 40 minutes is up, all the participants will be kicked out of the meeting automatically. Now, of course, they can always rejoin, and then they start another 40 minutes, right? Another session, which is free again. Okay, but it's kind of an annoyance when you're actually having the meeting or conducting the lesson, and you have to break and stop and then get all the users to rejoin the lessons again. So for me, that is a negative. All right. As for Cisco Webex, they now have lifted the restrictions, no time restrictions, and you can have up to 100 participants. We don't need so many because for me, my lessons are always no small group tuition, so it's not a big deal to me, right? But the fact that you are able to conduct your lesson without having any interruptions in between is a big plus for me. And as for AnyMeeting, now they have lifted the restrictions for their free and their light plans. So what you get is actually the highest plans, all the features that are available there. All right, and the highest plan that they have, the maximum number of participants is 30, right? This is more than enough for most users. I did not mention any time restrictions. Scheduling, a very basic feature, okay, which is very important. Okay, all three easy to schedule, uh, available in all three software, so there's no issue there. Now, screen sharing and app sharing. Now, screen sharing is when you're actually sharing the entirety of the contents within your desktop or your laptop, right? So even if you are switching applications, if you are searching for files, everything can be seen from the participant's point of view if you are having screen sharing. Now, app sharing is when you actually share just an app, for example, a PowerPoint slide, which I'm doing now, or Microsoft Word, and the users or the participants can only see that app and did not see any other things like what's on your browser, what's on your instant messenger, what are messages coming in. They cannot see all that information. Okay, so for Zoom, you actually have the option whether you want to share the screen or just share the app. For Webex, that's the same. Okay, but for AnyMeeting, that's the downside because they only have screen sharing, right? So the moment you share your screen, all the information that's available on the desktop can be seen by the participants, right? To me, that's a minus, right? Because there may be some sensitive information that you don't want other people to see, and then you accidentally, maybe reveal some password or something. So that's not a good thing to have. The next important feature that I want on my list is that whether the software has got recording function, right? Because sometimes I do get connection issues, or some of my students do get connection issues, and they miss out a certain part of my lesson. So it's important that I am able to record the lesson, then they can rewatch the lesson later on, right? Some of them may want to take a break, a toilet break, to do some big business. Okay, so they may miss out a chunk of the lesson. So this feature is very important to us, right? So we want to be able to record the videos, and I actually post these videos on my website after every lesson so that they can go back and review what has been covered during the lesson, what is the homework that they are supposed to do by the end of the week. All right, and all three software actually offer this ability, so that's good. Now, on to some of the security concerns, um, because if the software is not secure, parents may be concerned. What if a third party managed to crash into the meeting and then share some undesirable content? So that's no good, right? So we want to be able to lock down the room. Lock down meaning once all the participants are in the room itself, you can lock the meeting, and then no one else, even if they have the password, can access or join the meeting, right? And this is a feature that's available for all three software. You can also choose to have custom passwords when you're scheduling the meeting, then so that when participants join, they actually have to key in the correct password before they can join. And the last security feature I want to mention is that this just a unique feature that is unique just for Zoom itself, right? Because only Zoom has this feature. They call it the waiting room feature. In other words, when the students try to join the meeting, they are actually in the waiting room until the host manually accept them, right? So this is one extra layer of protection to ensure that there are no third parties or nobody who is not supposed to be there, right, to join the meeting. All right, this is not available in Webex and not available in AnyMeeting, but to me, this is no big deal, right? Because as long as the password is secure, right, it doesn't get shared around. I haven't have any issues with that, right? And only my students managed to join the meeting. Okay. And when does this free plan last until, right? Because now the COVID-19 situation for us and for many other countries, the measures can be unpredictable, right? And depending on the situation, right? And sometimes they may want to ease measures, sometimes they may want to tighten measures. So we do not know. As of right now, Zoom, this free plan for Zoom free plan, the free plan that they have has always been there, right? So I know that they have tried to lift the restrictions for certain schools, okay, in certain countries, right? But this this free lifting of restrictions may not be available in your particular country, so you may not have access to the free version, right? Which allows you to actually conduct meeting without any restrictions, without the 40-minute limit, right? But that's the main annoyance with this particular software. Um, so as for Cisco Webex, they did not specify when when the software will remain free until. Okay, so but I think it's safe to assume that you can use it for the time being, for the next few months. All right. As for AnyMeeting, they have committed that the free uh, premium features will be available till the end of 2020. Right. So for me, I have chosen Cisco Webex as the ideal software to use because it has given me everything that I need. All right, software is good, it's rather polished. I can share files, I can share my app and not my desktop. I can have more than enough number of participants with no time restrictions. So meaning the users will not get kicked out for the 1.5 hour or 2 hour lessons that I usually conduct. So that's good for me. I know there's one more software that many of the users online are familiar with, and that's Google Meet. Google Meet is widely used in local schools, so if the schools have it, so the students are very familiar with that as well. But unfortunately, Google Meet, even though they say that they are rolling out the free premium features, they need users to actually have a G Suite account to be able to use Google Meet. And to set up the an additional G Suite account just so that you can have access to Google Meet, I think uh, it takes an additional number of steps, right? So it's not as easy as setting up the Zoom and the Cisco Webex. If you go to your Gmail account right now, I think you can actually set up a Google Meet meeting, okay, just from your Gmail account without having to set up a Google Suite account, right? But if you do that, then the recording function is missing, right? And you have all the rest of the function. You can share your app, you can present, you have video, you have audio, but you just cannot record, right? To me, so that's a minus to me. So, but since Cisco Webex is able to do everything that I want to do without costing anything, right? So I've decided to base most of my lessons on either Zoom, or if it's one-to-one, okay, or Cisco Webex. Is there's more than one student, all right, and that's good enough for me. So hopefully you find the information useful. The links to all these websites will be included in the video description below. So with that, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.